Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game between Ballistechnical playing an ethical high dynamic range London division. And he's going up against Commander's Moustache playing an unethical Ostre Land Commando Sweatlord division. So we'll go through the deck reviews. It'll become immediately obvious why one of the divisions is a lot better than the other, and then we'll get back to it. Right, so this is Ballistechnical's deck, and he's playing HDR. I have a 2-hour pro guide out for HDR. I've changed things a little bit since I started playing it again more recently, because a couple of things have changed, but for the most part, basically, yeah, regular scouts do beat the Terrier scouts because they've got AT. Otherwise, you don't have any guys with AT. And yeah, the guard snipers can work, but I actually bring the Terrier scouts instead. Maybe that's a mistake actually, and I should just bring the guard snipers and the rocket helo again because the rocket helo is really useful. So yeah, we'll go through it, but basically, I highly recommend watching this guide and then or just copying me one to one. So there you go. That's the one I've got. um, yeah, so basically, you don't need 3 cards of supply for 2 arty pieces, right? So you could just save yourself 2 AP straight off the bat there. CV options, yeah, this one does beat the Rover because it costs the same but has armor and more HP, and it's like, what? This has better stealth, which I guess matters, but this one is better. And then that's a 1 AP slot, so you might as well fill that. In terms of, so you're gonna love this, right? The guards cost more than the rifle's leader, even though they shouldn't, because the loadout's identical and Resolute is supposed to be free. So even though the guards are, haha, yes, the funny meme, it is, das ist nicht optimal. You must play optimally and bring the rifle's leader in the Kremlin because they also get a better transport because their transport is faster on road and has smoke and 2 armor. Like you get this one, which can be sold, but yeah, you want to keep the transport with them so you can move them around. So this is just the optimal choice. For whatever reason, this costs more. I have tried to fix it, but these things happen. So yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, but I want to have fun and be cool. Okay, but the purpose of this video is for me to tell you how to maximize your chances of winning. You don't have to listen to me. So yeah, Wombat's still bad. This is very good because it gets Resolute for free. But this is Reservist. So you can get the Reservist one if you literally just want spam because it's cheaper. But for 5 points to get not reser to get 5% accuracy and Resolute for 5 points is very, very worth it in my opinion. But yeah, usually if it was a choice between the regular one and the Reservist one, I'd bring the Reservist one. But in this case, I think having the Resolute, it's just like, well, that's just an additional bonus. So yeah, I used to bring 2 cards of ATGMs, but then I started running out of infantry. So I don't bring the Milan 1 anymore because I've got the Ferret Swingfire. Um, and I've got the Milan 2, and I just found, and I've got the Lynx Hellarms, and I found I could get rid of the Milan 1 and bring a second card of guards. So if you find you're running out of stuff, then do that. Terrier Pioneers are bad because they can't be vetted, so they're just really not that good. It's a shame, really. Arty, so like I get this, right, but this is the same availability and it's just like way more useful because you can just park it at the back of the map and smoke everything in the middle, and you can use it as regular artilleries. So I appreciate it's 20 points more, but it's the same availability, and the idea is you don't resupply it because you've only got 2 cards of supply now. If you want to have them all firing the whole game, yes, you'd need the 3rd card. But yeah, it doesn't make sense to me to bring the mortar instead of this. I think it's worth paying a bit more for this one because it's the same availability and everything. And then, so my Challenger I have at 2 vet, you don't have to do that. The Centurions, yeah, you can spam them out if you want. I only bring 1 card. And then the Chieftains you've got at 2 vet. Whereas mine are at 1 vet and then my Challenger's at 2 vet or something. I mean, you can do it whichever way around you want. This thing you've got to bring, it's really good. It misses loads. But it's very good at just pumping out suppression, and it's got the good stealth, so it's fast. Yeah, this makes sense, but no Hilo. No exceptional optics manpad surviving Hilo. And yes, you want the Zibi over the regular because it's got exceptional optics for 10 more points, which is worth it. And then this is where the rubber meets the road, right? So you're like, yeah, you brought this for the Helos, but it should come in the Rover because the Rover's faster. So it'll get there much faster. I appreciate this is more kind of armoured, but something that's going to kill this is probably going to kill this anyway, so you might as well get the faster one. And yeah, regular jab. I bring the LML now, I didn't used to, and then I ended up against the Helo Rusher and I lost. And then basically, yes, it's super nice to have these vetted, so they've got a higher chance of hitting, but you will have two cards of good fighters, and you've got all these other ones, so it's best to just down vet this, get rid of that. I actually have this one at one vet, because like how much AA do you really need? Do you know what I mean? So consider vetting one, if not both of these, do you know what I mean? And then with that 6 AP, you can 4 AP, wow. You can come back here and get your recon healer and have 1 AP spare. Oh, it's the end of the world, it's the end of the world, it's the end of the world. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fine. And then, right, so you've got enough anti-helo, I think, right? So I feel like you don't need this. I think it's better to bring the Phantom FGR and then have two cards of fighters that are actually going to do something. Because, like, the point of this is that, yeah, it's a bit of anti-helo, and it's good for getting shot by enemy air, by enemy AA, so that this can blow them up. But in that case, well, why... You've got the EW plane for that, so what do you need this for? It's like anti-helo. Yeah, but this can do anti-helo in a pinch, and you've got enough ground-based anti-helo. Like, the idea is you'd send two of these out to kill one helicopter, and it would probably kill it, but it's very, very slow. So I prefer this, personally, so that you can actually win the air battle. Then, yeah, the EW plane, yeah. And then, so basically, instead of the second card of Centurions, I have the Harrier HE, but honestly, there's lots of games where I don't buy it. So maybe you don't need it. Yeah, switching to his opponent, we've got a very unethical Erstelag Commando player. So basically, I've got a guide on the channel on how to beat Erstelag Commando. So this guy's one of the best players in the game. Constantly gets into arguments with me, just starts shit with me all the time. Yeah, he did it again today. I don't know what the hell's wrong with this guy, but he spammed Erstelang Commando to get to the top ranks, and this is me playing against him. I go through Erstelang Commando, why it's broken, how to beat it. So I definitely do recommend checking that out. So, yeah, this div is very, very strong, but he has made some mistakes. But like, feel like it's unethical for me to tell you how to build this div. But basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 fighters. When you have Eyehawks and Stingers, you need 9 fighters. No, you don't. Stop being retarded. So you can bring this, which is basically you fly. The idea behind this one is that you fly in front of these bombers so they can kill stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can do the same with this, and this can actually kill ground targets. So like, why? You don't need more fighters. You've got plenty of fighters. And then basically there used to be an extra air slot here, so you would basically bring all of the HEs and the clusters. Sorry, the HEs and the HE cluster. The cluster one's crap. Why don't? So he's brought one with a 3-minute reload with small bombs when he could get one with a 2-minute reload with big bombs, which would have an equal effect against armor because the big bombs are really good against armor anyway. So you don't want that. You want this one. And generally speaking, that's still too many fighters. So especially given how expensive they are, you could get rid of this one and get more bombers. It used to be that this slot was empty, so you just get that as well, which was obviously retarded. um, yeah, this is good against helos. This is good against helos. I don't see the point in 2 cards of manpads when your forward deployed AA. He doesn't bring his best unit. He doesn't bring his best unit, which is a forward deployed AA piece with ground surveillance radar, so you can see super far as well. And infantry can't run up to it because the DMRs just suppress it, and it's got smoke. He doesn't bring that, so he can bring the same AA piece in the AA tab. That's very strange. If you're going to bring all these, then you should probably be upvetting them so they can fight people, but frankly, you probably just want to do that and get rid of that, and then you've got 3 AP again, which usually would have gone here to get your extra bomber, but... Oh no, the strongest div in the game got nerfed a little bit. So 2, 4... So instead of bringing the 3 per card, 12 HP CV, he brings the 2 per card, 4 HP CV. So 5, 7. Do you need a Centurion command tank? But yeah, these got buffed. They have the max range now, and the price went up a little bit, but it's kind of a crazy machine, this. Should probably go up in price a bit more. But it is what it is. So yeah, you want to spam those out. And do you need 10 of these? So this is your anti-tank thing. So what's the purpose of this when you have this one here? I think you'd be better off bringing this, or bringing... at the very least, it should be vetted. But, like, I don't know, I mean... So this is more of an anti-infantry thing because of how fast it shoots. Although this shoots fast as well and it's got more range. But this has a lot more armor, and it's the 50 cal that does the damage against infantry. The thing is, this is also good against infantry. So between the two of them, you can bring whichever one you want. But I'd bring the one that costs the same. And has the 50 cal, so it does more damage against the infantry, but it is slower. And it can also survive hits from the infantry. And it can also be 2-vetted, and you got plenty of tanks anyway, so that's just me. So, yeah, I mean, you can bring this if you want. Self-propelled mortars aren't as good as towed mortars now because of the whole counter battery thing. You might as well just bring the more available one because they're both going to die to counter battery. Like, this will survive in some cases, but, you know, you might as well just get this and sell the transport, and it's only 35 points. If it gets counter batteried, it gets counter batteried. In terms of your other, like, I'd bring the one on the left now because it's, you know, the meta is more about towed arty now, and it's got more range, so you just put it at the back on counter battery. But the M109 at the back of the map can survive a lot of counter battery because it moves before the shells get there because it moves slightly faster. It's just, you know, this, you can buy 2 of these for the price of that, so yeah. And then the idea here, so infantry per nave did get nerfed by 5 points. It now costs the same as terriers, which are worse because they can't be vetted. But the strat on this div is to spam 3 cards of infantry per nave. So get rid of that, get these out. And Live Garden should be at 1 vet. This should be at 1 vet so it doesn't die immediately. This should be in the helicopter so that you've got a helicopter deployed infantry. Probably don't want to vet that. And, because, yeah, I mean, you can get the Panzer Infanterie if you want, but for 5 points more, it does have a better AT. But, you know, you only get 4 at 2 vet and all this, and if you want the AT, you've got the Fröm and the Live Garden. So, do you need that? But yeah, I'm really surprised he doesn't bring this CV, which is absolutely cracked. And then you got this whole thing about, oh no, there's 1 AP slot, my head is going to explode. But you know, you just get over yourself. I mean, if it really mattered a lot to you, you would get rid of this, put this in. So now you've got loads of cheap CVs, and now you've got 2 AP, and then you can, you know, you can find somewhere to put that. So maybe you would bring at this point you probably bring this because it's cheaper and it's better. I don't understand how that happened. Um, but you do get fewer of them. So you could get this for like more of a defensive kind of thing. You know, the healers fly over, it kills the infantry, that sort of thing. Or you could get more, you know, if you really wanted those. Like, this ain't so bad, 30 points for 3 guys with AT. You just sneak it around the side and use it to kill stuff. Or you could, you know, I guess you can't upvet the RT and bring more, because they're all 1 card. Or you could bring something else here, so you could bring another 3 CBs. Or 3 more Thurmond, right? Oh yeah, like another 3 CVs. Because... Where is he? This guy. There he is. And there you go, now you're very CV pilled, right? You've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 CVs if you want, right? Or you could, you know, you could bring more Thrumond because they are a good squad, and it's just you don't get very many of them, right? That probably makes more sense. Or you could bring these guys because they've got AT and satchels, and so that's actually a pretty good squad as well. And so you could bring that, and you could be like, well, I've got too much infantry, so you could 2-vet this one or whatever, right? You don't want you want as many of these as you can bring, really. That thing, this should be 10 points more expensive. They are underpriced because they're very, very powerful. Right, lots of ways you can do it. I'm just surprised by some of the decisions made. And yeah, to be honest, I mean, maybe you don't need this because you got plenty of infantry. I would probably go for that one. Because now you've got a landmine, and if you really want the hamlets, you can get that. But yeah, this is good for just defending ground. If a helo flies near it, it's going to kill it. It's nice to have, and it'll kill the infantry, and it's cheaper than this one. And oh, I'm not very smart. Uh, so the Maxim's better against infantry, but the Bofors is better against helos because obviously it shoots a lot further, and planes. But actually, is the Maxim better against infantry? Yeah, because it shoots a lot. The salvo length's higher, so it'll get a lot more bullets out, and it's got much more accuracy. So even though the Bofors does more damage and suppression, the Maxim's just firing so many rounds downrange. But yeah, the Bofors got buffed, and now in many cases it's better to bring the Bofors than the one next to it. So yeah, let's cast the game. Right, so with that out of the way, Ostre received like 3 or 4 nerfs. I think it was like 4 nerfs in the last patch, and it's still crazy. The tanks kind of got side graded, and now they've got the max range, as we pointed out. But the guy's deck is awful. He doesn't bring his best unit, which is the forward deployed, airborne forward deployed, 100-kilometer-an-hour vehicle, ground surveillance radar, special forces, smoke wielding, anti-air recon unit. So I'm not really sure why he does that. And then his CVs, he just brings the wrong CVs. There's lots of mistakes in this deck. Having said that, even with all that, this deck gets a lot more than this. But yeah, not bringing that specific unit was very, very, very strange. I guess he just missed it. I don't understand it. And he brings like too many fighters, not enough bombers. He's got like 10 fighters for some reason. So, and then yeah, he's got like loads of no-vet recon infantry. It's very, very strange. It's very strange. So looking at the deployment, we have loads of no-vet recon infantry, but it doesn't go as fast as the ones he refused to bring. And then we got the 3 recon tanks. These things are really good. I think the price did go up. Wasn't it 80 points before? Or maybe I'm making that up. Oh no, the non-recon one's 80 points. So that's just going into the middle of nowhere. Apparently, it should be going there, so it can shoot down the road at the guy coming down here. This one's going to the right place because it can actually shoot down that road there. And then this one... Not sure what that purpose is. I guess he wants to shoot stuff going down here. And then behind that, we've got a bunch of vetted MGs. Engineer, Carl Gustav, those things are kind of broken. Ito back here. So I guess he doesn't understand what his opponent's deck is, because he should be getting everywhere first, because he's got airborne forward deployed guys with AA, and his opponent can only match that with helicopters, so... And obviously the helicopters are going to get shot by the AA, but he doesn't bring it and so on, so... We're here to learn. We got another tank for that. And then 3 feeling, so he does expect helicopters. And then on this side, not much. He should have put more here, really. Because if you're HDR, you probably want to try and take this at the start. Because Ostre's going to wreck you in the open with his tanks, so... although he's going to wreck you in close quarters with his... it's tough if you're HDR. So HDR is basically the same div, but worse. Like, it really is. So he's doing a helo opener, which is reasonably common. And usually against this div it wouldn't work, because he would have the forward deployed AA. The other thing he could do is open with those cheap AA fighters he brought. Like 2 of those, because you're expecting a helo deployment from HDR. But he didn't deploy the guard sniper unit, which has the additional... It'll start further forwards, and I'm pretty sure the helo's faster, you know. And so that would land straight away, and that would give him vision, and then the ones behind could get in. He doesn't bring the recon helo either. Apparently he had 20 points left over, so he's brought some Gazelle rockets with the weapons turned off. No recon with this at all. So no scouts in front, no guard snipers, no fox with the zibby, just a whole bunch of infantry. And then 3 javelins. And no tanks or anything. And then we got a, zibby here. No recon for here, like you could put scouts in there at this. Oh, I guess he's worried about the M41 shooting him on that road, which is right to be, but there should be a scouts here, and he's just put absolutely nobody on Alpha, so he's just hoping... Oh, no, that's wrong, actually. Some of these guys are actually going to Alpha. So 1 Javelin, 1 Rifles Patrol, and a 2nd Rifles Patrol, and a Milan 1. So, for whatever reason, this attack consists of... Well, where's this going? They're all similar numbers of highlighted, so I can't tell. I guess we'll just watch the game. Right, so they're off and it hadn't been pathed, which is why it was... And there you go, he did actually open 2 of the A8. I don't watch this ahead of time. But yeah, basically, the Tornado out at the start, okay, but if you brought the Hawks, which he did, and I don't think he should have, but if he did, you would open 3 Hawks instead of this, because 3 Hawks will do more than this, and they will cost less. And if you didn't open the Hawks, you'd buy the Phantom. You don't really want to open with a 250-point fighter. Yeah, he should have turned into it at that distance. He just got the thing wrong. And now it's going to be behind him and shoot him. He shouldn't have evac'd. He should have turned into it, basically. Wow, okay. And now... He didn't... Oh, no, he did buy the next fighter, but his fighters just cost so much more. These guys fucked up. It's got 8 HP, so this will not one-shot it. But buying that 2nd fighter saved his guys, but I don't understand why he didn't buy the Hawks, because they're 70 points. The only time those Hawks are really useful is at the start of the game, because obviously once an I-Hawk has the same name for some reason, gets set up, well, it's going to one-shot all the Hawks. So the main thing with the cheap fighters is you either send them in front of your bombers, or you... yeah, helos do that sometimes, where they just don't land. You either send them in front of your bombers, or you buy them mainly at the start of the game before the enemy's AA net gets set up. Because 2 fighters generally beats 1 fighter. I appreciate so that the first engagement there, these 2 fighters were badly microed, and so he killed 1, and then he, the other one did end up getting behind him because he mismicroed his Tornado. But yeah. So basically, best case scenario for Ballistechnical, he didn't lose any of his fighters, and he didn't lose any of his infantry, and his opponent still committed to buying a load of fighters, which ended up not doing anything. So that couldn't have gone any better for him, really. But he didn't really kill any enemy fighters, I suppose. But he got one. But basically, that one that got behind him, he just got really lucky. It should have killed him. Once it got behind him, it should have killed him, really. But yeah, this is the issue with not opening with a recon helo. So the recon helo will soak up a hit, and it's further forward, so you actually see the enemy fighters earlier. And if Red had a recon helo, that would have helped him as well, because he would have. Because the reason he didn't get those Wessexes is because he lost vision on them, most likely. You know, when the second pair of fighters came out, he lost vision on them, and then he couldn't see them. And by the time you get to them, well, then your plane doesn't turn in. By the time you can see them, the plane doesn't turn in time. So it's very annoying. But yeah, on this side, so Rifles Patrol are pretty good on the defense because they've got the DMR, which outputs a lot of suppression, and they've got good optics when they're stood still because they're security, and they've got smoke so they can disengage quite easily. The Milan 2s are a good counter to Erster because they one-shot the Centurions, and he's just got the Milan 1 because it's cheap, right? But basically, instead of 2 Milan 2s here, one of them should have been a Centurion, because you need the fire support if they do try and contest it. I appreciate they haven't. And instead of the 3rd Air Mobile Terriers, he should have had a Recon Guard Sniper so he could actually see something. And he probably would have had money left over after that for like an MMG team or something like that, because they're good on the defense, because obviously they shoot at infantry from quite far away. Alternatively, a Ferret Swingfire, but yeah, you'd want one of them should have been a tank, really. So just attacking a position with no recon whatsoever and just hoping your opponent doesn't have a brain is not a good survival tactic. Did work in that case, and he's not lost the rest of the map, because his opponent here could have easily pushed this and taken him out, but his opponent has bought too much recon. Loads of recon infantry, no recon helo, although that's arriving now. And then they're doing the classic, the absolute classic, buy an arty right at the start. Although it has actually been 5 minutes, so maybe it's not too bad. So if you HDR in this case, basically, yeah, put a couple of MMG teams in here, but your main focus, and he has identified this, yeah, you get an SAS in there with a recon and a javelin. Because, yeah, the javelin needs to sort of move up, you know, shoot the recon helo, although in this case there's no kind of attack helos on Erster. That's the one advantage HDR has. He has helicopters that actually that can actually hurt infantry and vehicles because of the Helm. Apart from that, he's disadvantaged in basically every way. Yeah, so lots of arty getting bought here. I mean, it's just, it's upsetting seeing the same mistakes over and over. Like, I understand, like, one mortar, yeah, maybe one arty piece at this stage in the game can make sense. But if you're just going to kill all of your momentum by just spending several minutes on arty, then you're gonna, you know, you're not going to get anywhere very quickly. See this as an investment, right? Everything you buy in this game it's an investment, right? So this costs 160 points, and the idea is that over the course of the game it will provide more than 160 points worth of value, right? But the point is that it takes ages to start paying for itself. He bought this like 3 minutes ago, and it hasn't killed anything yet. And now it's probably going to kill a 15-point machine gun team. Great. So it only has to kill 10 of those to not pay for itself, because it would be 150 points. And it costs 160 with the transport that you have to keep with it. So there you go. At the current rate, he's killed 1 unit in 3 minutes. So in 30 minutes, this is going to pay for itself. So, do you see the issue? So he's buying more. So it's good in that basically you know how you can improve quite quickly by you know, just adapting in these ways. So something die here? No. So yeah, there should be at this point there should be a fox going around the side, and there should be a fox going through here, across here, and then you path it through this, across this, and you put it like there. You wait for the artillery to shoot, and then you just kill it. Like you leave it like here or something. Usually they fire from back here, and then the artillery shoots, and you just come out and kill it. It's very funny. But yeah, Blue has got his finger on the pulse of this game a little bit more, and he's actually buying ground stuff. Although the ground stuff he's buying isn't really. This has smoke, yes, fantastic. But okay, we're all good. But like, so he bought this to smoke that, but he sort of forgot about it, and so yeah, essentially you've got momentum or tempo if you're, you know, trying to sound smarter than you are, and you've got, you know, efficiency. So like arty is a pretty safe bet if you use it, in that it will eventually pay for itself, whereas a plane is kind of high momentum in the moment, right? Because, you know, you're attacking on the front line, you buy the plane, in 10 seconds it's on the field, in 20 seconds it's there, it's killed something, so you get very high momentum in the moment, but you do suffer from, well, 5 minutes later, basically, you could have had 3 more light tanks on the field, or 6 units if it's like infantry plus IFV, but instead you had that one plane, so you so that there is quite a big cost to that. But yeah, where's he going? Oh no, he took all this ground and he's just given it up. Oh, you hate to see it. He's just ran off. Because the whole point is, red has a big advantage in this situation. Although, you know, blue owns this zone, which is very nice. But red has a big advantage here, because all he has to do is smoke this corner. And the way you stop that as blue is you come up here, right? And once you're here, well, you can't get in anymore, especially if you've got, like, a tank there, right? It's just going to come up, and then the tank's going to blat it. So you need to secure this through running up this way. And I thought that I was like, very impressed by the way he'd ran up here, he'd taken a lot of ground, he was bringing the javelin up, but he just decided to give it all up. And now he's suffering from what we just warned about. So that sucks. He could have had all this. The issue, of course, is once you get to about here, the bombers start coming in, and you can't cover them with your AA. So, like, yes, a Rapier or a Star Street you can get up, but basically you'd want a couple Bloodhounds back here, because they would engage. So he's bought 2 AS-90s and put them on counter battery. Which has killed his momentum, but if your enemy's bought that much arty and it's all shooted at you, you do have to buy stuff and use it for counter battery, so I do think that makes a lot of sense. I guess he's not going to get this, because... No, he got it. So that's good, right? And now... So back to the cost efficiency argument. Well, one of these just immediately paid for itself, right? So, yeah, counter battery makes sense. And as long as he moves this, and he's got a spare CV here, although he's sort of got a spare CV here. Oh, he's definitely got a spare one here. I don't. So that this should come sit next to these. Oh, this one should, because it's really close, and you've got a CV anyway. Although this might just die. So, yeah, you do need to get the counter battery going, because otherwise they're just going to smoke the corner all game, which he is doing. And yeah, he got the enemy howitzer first, but yeah, if you just sit there and buy, you know, each one of these is like a minute's worth of arty, and 3 of these, so it's 1, 2, the one that died, 3, 4, 5 minutes of arty, and then a bunch of planes. So imagine a situation. Remember, these have smoke, by the way. So that's why you had the spare. Now you need to move these. Because that's actually a good trade for the blue player, because this costs like 240 points, and this costs like 45 or something. Oh. Well, I'm not sure what the thought process there was. I'll tell you what the thought process there was. He probably bought the tornado to hit this thing. And then it died, and he forgot to update the tornado's order, and then it just continues in a straight line, which just happens to be flying over the middle of the map and dying, so that's pretty rough. But yeah, I don't understand the aversion to the tanks. Both players have a lot of tanks, but they'd rather buy anything other than a tank. 15 minutes in. Oh, we see our first tanks from blue. And red is buying some. But yeah, you do need to guard against this, although this is like... So basically, you'd want to send one M41 and one AA piece, the Bedford feeling thing. That, which is in the base. Because the idea is this kills everything that's not air, and then this kills the helicopter that he sends to deal with it. There's, you lose, So yeah, the chieftains should actually kill... So HDR's tanks should kill Erster's tanks pretty cost-effectively, because they're like slightly more expensive, which is what you want in a tank. But the Centurion is probably underpriced. So naturally he's not buying his good tank, he's only buying his bad tank. As opposed to the Centurions, which are the heavy lifters with the max range and so on. And this doesn't have a stabilizer. But... So look, he's using this in front just to soak up bullets. And it's working. This has already used its smoke. That's on an attack move order, so why isn't it stopping? So we see our first Hawk of the game. And something like a Lynx Hellam would be super useful in this situation. Because they're vehicles, right? They're not infantry, so... you'd want the ATGM one. For whatever reason, these were on an attack move order, and were shooting that, but didn't stop. Now, you do see stuff like that sometimes, so... We forgot to keep this with this. And the... Oh no, he does have them, he just stopped using them. Okay. So... Listen, mate, you gotta deal with this. You can't let that happen. You don't want to blob these as much as you blobbed them. You certainly don't want to tell them to go over there, because there should be AA here. For some reason, there isn't, but there should be AA there. And if one missile hits the middle one, these will all die, so you really don't want to be blobbing. He has got the Hell Arms out now, but now that they're in the forest, it's going to struggle to kill him. This is where recon helos come in handy as well. He doesn't bring the recon helos. You just need some tanks down this road. Like, you can catch him if you... Oh no, is he going to lose these? Don't these have smoke on them? Well, they should, but they don't, so... Well, he got very, very, very lucky there, didn't he? It fired 3 rounds and it didn't hit any. So I got 1 armor and 8 HP, would have killed it, but got extremely lucky. Now, that one doesn't have a stabilizer, so... Oh, well, neither of them do, but the first one stopped, so... So he's sort of getting this sorted. At least he got his AS-90s out. And then, yeah, so... We're talking about how much, so, okay, 170, what? Oh, I'm retarded. 190, 270, 350, 430, roughly. I mean, I might have got that a little bit wrong, but, listen, I have a PhD. So I've got nothing left to prove. It is funny though, because yeah, he's done it again, and now it's lost its target, and it's just going to fly over the middle. Oh, they didn't resupply these, so who can throw the most? So... I used to work at this company, and somebody was training me on a piece of equipment, and they kept making loads of really basic mistakes, and they had a PhD, and I was like, how does this person have a PhD? They can't do basic maths. And now that's me. So there you go, I'm being punished for my arrogance. So yeah, be less arrogant 7 years ago, otherwise you'll get punished 7 years later. Anyway, red is trying to attack here. Keeping the Wessex around is actually a pretty good idea, especially if your opponent is like, AA, what's that? I don't need it. Because like they're just sat there shooting at everybody, and once they run out of HP or whatever, you just sell them. you get all your money back. So the counter battery is doing a lot of work. He does have the CV next to it, which is fantastic. He does need a supply for these, so that's coming now. And yeah, he's keeping his helos around, which is a really good idea. You know what else you can do with these, seeing as you've got so many? Is you send one and you just hug this, come all the way around, and you use it to spot the RT. But yeah, not having anybody guarding this was a really big mistake, and he's going to pay for that now. Although his opponent is simply incapable of understanding the fact that these can't fire properly on the move, because they have to stop to shoot. So that is very bad. Although they do actually still fire on the move. So these tags, by the way, are like manually written there. They don't actually do anything. Like, so they add the behavior, and then they have to manually put these tags on, from what I understand. Because look, it will still engage while moving, and it should, because if it didn't, it wouldn't even start aiming until it had fully stopped, and it would be a useless piece of equipment, like everything without a stabilizer is in Red Dragon. So look, they will actually still shoot. They just won't hit anything. So that's fine, but it shouldn't have this, and it should be doing that, but it should not be having the static tag. So look, did you notice it stopped and then it hit something crazy, right? But sadly, his opponent is not noticing, and now he's going to get side shot at minimum range, and he's going to lose his challenger. So that's what the helos are for, to have a nice picket line of things, so that nothing can ever get around you without triggering one of these many helos. But sadly, he's just got them all blobbed up in one place. It's actually quite a lot of them. So yeah, 14 helos there. And that is hilarious. The flipping Javelin hit the 40% ECM one instead of the... Well, that's still 30% ECM, actually. So yeah, that's the point of the helos. You use them for stuff, right? And it did a good job here, right, where it helped kill the infantry. But like this one now, you'd sell, right, because it's got 1 HP. But sadly, they've gotten around him, and he just hasn't noticed that's happening. You need to... I don't know if this is the case, but there are people who play without their sounds, because they're like, I want to listen to music or whatever, and it's like, you're just going to miss the sounds of your people screaming as they die, burned alive in their transport vehicle because you were listening to music. But don't worry, you got those tunes in, right? Get a bit of Beyonce on there. Wow, my hips don't lie. Oh, wait, wrong diva. So, something to consider. But the general idea behind what blue is doing makes a lot of sense. So yeah, this you would send down there now. It's just he's struggling with the execution. Like, all the tools are there. He has really good combined arms, right? I mean, there's still no recon in here 20 minutes into the game. Just doesn't like seeing, but there's a bit there. Uh-oh. Well, it should be alright, because it'll fade out of vision again before it... Yeah, now it's out of range. So yeah, you'd want a recon there. You know, you'd want to push this up to here. You have CVs, right? So this CV would go up to here, and you'd smoke the corner so you could get in. This CV would come up this way and get in there. So the strategy is all there, and that's good. Like, look, he did push up here. I think the strategy's great, but it's the execution, and that's literally just... The more you play the game, you get better you'll get at executing. But yeah, you know how it is. He was a skater boy, she said see you later boy. Meanwhile, the challenges are exploding. Yeah. So you did actually get this with just... So this is something people don't think about. You know, mortars actually do damage now. That's something people are taking a long time to get used to. Yeah, they're not just smoke machines now. That is a really interesting idea. It's a shame that happened, but that was a very interesting... Because these don't damage the vehicle, even if it's a terrible vehicle. So there was a lot of sense to that. But sadly, he didn't, you know, obviously if he'd come back here, he would have been fine. And they would have just kept shooting him, and they wouldn't have been able to do anything. Yeah, so this... Like, this, you really need the recon helos, especially... Like, I mean, you can use these and just fling it over and find him with this, because this doesn't have a HMG, so it won't actually kill these that fast. If it has a HMG, it kills the helo really quickly, but this one doesn't. And so you would use that to find it and have the hell arm a bit further back so it can shoot, because if the hell arm's too close, it's not going to fire. But he's really struggling to deal with this. And this is a big... you know, this is why you should do raids, because... so my jam before I started playing Warno was Age of Empires 3. And in the Age of Empires games, raiding is... Like, good, do the counter battery, get him. Is he going to move after? Yes, good. Good. Good play. Raiding is a fundamental part of the game in every RTS. And, like, people won't have a go at you for... Well, unless they're really bad. They won't have a go at you for raiding if you raid in Age of Empires. But in this game, you send one unit round the side and people just start completely spazzing out. No, you're not allowed! So yeah, you should always send raids round the sides. Like, this is literally the whole point of the game. You do... Well, okay, it's not the whole point of the game, but it's a very normal and acceptable part of war, and you should be fine with that. Same with smoke. The issue you've got is, because, you know, he sent loads around the side, that everything you send around the side is something that you aren't using in the main battle, so you really do have to think about that. This should really take a hit there. I mean, these things are very close, they're vetted by CV, they've got very high accuracy, 70%, 75%, 65%. Okay. But yeah, where's the Bloodhounds? Oh, there's one. Make sure you don't sell the transport with him, although he's killed all the enemy arty now, more or less. So he's still not killed this? These are out of ammo. Needs infantry reinforcements up here. They are coming. Yeah, so you don't want to send too much around, particularly at the start of the game. Obviously, if you're against somebody who's just like, I'm going to sit there and buy nothing but artillery for 5 minutes, then yeah, you got plenty of time. But generally, against a good player, if you send too much around the side, they'll just keep pushing you in mid, and then you'll just lose loads of ground in mid, because you just have less stuff there than them. So, something to consider. But yeah, I mean, blue's still on the +2, but it's Black Forest, so... You know, the game always goes 40 minutes. He's currently arting himself. Or was that this? I think that was this. These have smoke. People always bring them for the smoke and then never use the smoke. But yeah, you've got Broken Arrow to thank for that, like so many things in this game. This is why you gotta move them after they shoot. Every time, you just got to get into the habit, because that's dead now, and that's because you didn't move it, because that's the only way you could see it, right? He's not bought the seed on, or at least I don't see it. Live Garden at no vet is done, bring him up 1 vet. And then you would put this in the church so this can shoot, you would move this over so that this can engage, move this there, I guess that's too far away. Use the Chinook on him, that would get shot by these, and you'd land it. He has bought the seed now. The star streaks don't get revealed by seed. Remember when they used to go into buildings? They're actually useful. Yeah. Anyway, they're good against helos though. He still hasn't dealt with this because he just doesn't want to fly the helo over, so this is going to die now. And yeah, there's kind of a compounding effect with RTS games. So that's why they're, you know, they're kind of less popular than shooters and stuff. I think they always would be because they require thinking. I wouldn't go as far as to call it strategy, but you do have to think. Whereas a shooter, yeah. But even if like you're the worst shooter player in the world, sooner or later you're just going to spawn behind the enemy, and then you're going to kill him. And so in the game you would get, you know, he hasn't given that the unload order. Thankfully this doesn't do any damage to vehicles, so he's fine. You want Centurions there, really. One Centurion, one Chieftain, because the point of the Chieftains is they've got the Instructor trait. The Mark 1 force got the Instructor trait. And you'd want a tank here as well to help out with the fire support, because they've got 50 cals on him, but so far he's only engaging with one of his units. But yeah, in a shooter, you're still going to get some kills. Unless it's something like Squad, I guess, where you just spend all your time crawling through bushes. But nah, sooner or later you'll get behind somebody and you'll kill them. But in an RTS game, even one with as much RNG as this, the enemy, if they're better than you, is basically always going to win. You might kill some of his units, but the game generally is going to be quite painful because you're going to lose a unit, and then, let's say it's a 1v1 and he out-micros you, well, then you get more units and now it's a 2v1. And then it's a 3v1, and then it's a 4v1. And so you don't get that, oh, I might just respawn behind him and kill him kind of factor. You just lose more and more and more and more. But I think Blue's got, you know, the better kind of game sense here. Red's purchases are just sort of weird, and like, so now he's got a bunch of infantry but no tanks, and, you know, no AA. His opponent finally got a recon unit up here, but he's got, you know, some AA, some infantry, some fire support. He needs more tanks, really. He's not got enough tanks. So you see that, if correctly microed, the two cheaper fighters should beat one better fighter, because you saw he came in exactly right there, and obviously they didn't kill it, but these cost 140 points between them. So they do have their place. It's just as the game goes on, essentially you'd expect more and more AA on the map. Of course, in this particular case, he bought his one Eyehawk and he just left it there, and he's just quite content to just not buy another. Another thing we haven't seen from Blue is a single bomber to take advantage of. So the Hawk's over here, it's not dying. So then you're like, well, there's no AA. And then I can buy the Canberra. So Canberra's really good. This eventually got dealt with, I suppose. These guys get smoke. Yeah, seen a lot of that this game. But yeah, it just comes down to, you know, it's like this guy should be helping in that fight. And at the lower level, it's very, it's great because you improve very quickly. Because there's just, it's kind of like things that just have a massive impact on the game. So the first one is like spending your points. Lots of people just don't spend their points. Sadly, we can't tell generally if they're spending their points. And the second one then is like buying the right things. And just, you'll notice, so players with fewer games, they all make the same mistakes. They just buy way too much arty at the start of the game. And they'll just have situations where most of their guns just aren't shooting. They've just got loads of guys sat around not doing anything. Because they just sort of forget about them. It is very difficult to control this many units. So, yeah, because each row is 9 instead of 10 for whatever reason. And so that's, you know, 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63. And then here comes some... Yeah, he wasn't spending his points. And yeah, another thing is they'll just buy 5 of one unit, and then 5 of the next unit, and then 5 of the next unit, and then 5 of the next unit, and so by the time the tanks get there, all the infantry's dead. By the time the infantry gets there, all the tanks are dead. But that's why I like playing RTS games, because you learn... Obviously, you're not really learning anything useful for society, I suppose, but you see yourself getting better. You learn a lot about how the game works, and it's that feeling of, you know, growing stronger. Like, this guy should probably be, you know... Well, when this starts capping, he can go kill it, I suppose. It's like having the units in the buildings instead of outside the buildings, so they take half as much damage. Like, that's a big difference. And so you do get the big learnings. Obviously, if you play too much, you start to become jaded and disenfranchised. I know a lot of top players like that. They basically played the game for too long, and all they do is moan about it. I mean, you're currently listening to one. But yeah, I mean, this is also part of my personal journey of becoming a better person, right? Because I learn great patience when I just see people flail around in the mud, and you know, I'm learning great patience here. Look, I'm so patient right now. So he's got 8 CVs, I think, 2 infantry and 6 vehicle, so that should be okay. Oh no, no, it's the other player that has the Centurion command tanks. So we got some big airwaves. Needs to get another Bloodhound out. And then it's about moving the Bloodhounds and so on. But yeah, a lot of it as well is like, so basically, you know, Warno makes me very philosophical in these kinds of situations where you see, like, no recon. That's a big issue with HDR, actually. You don't have any recon infantry with a HP above 4. You get 2 ones that are 4 and 1 that is 3. It's very hard to get good recon on the field. That was interesting. So that was spotted by the recon. Useful, right? This has been switched off. Because there is seed about. And yeah, this is why you need more than 2 tornadoes, and that's why you want proper fighters instead of 5 hawks. Because the hawks are generally only useful at the start, if your enemy is behaving correctly and buys his AA. Whereas the Phantom is going to be useful in this stage of the game. It's actually going to do something. But yeah, I mean, he had the ability to buy 3 Bloodhounds, but... Because the thing behind the Bloodhounds is that they're practically unseedable. Yeah, and like, this is... So this guy should be here, and then the enemy can't just walk into your base. Yeah. It is what it is. So, this is just completely devolved. There's... Why? Here we go, yeah, send in the next wave, yeah. His AA net's basically been crushed, and now he's just getting bullied by plane guns. And yeah, he's got a bunch of tanks for this town fight without recon. So yeah, bring the recon helo, because that's kind of an easy way to get yourself some additional recon to places where you haven't brought it, right? And then you can kind of quickly resolve your mistake. But basically, if you're in this situation where you've got all the tanks and none of the infantry, well, you want to come around this side and kill everything, or come around this side and kill everything. You want to use them. You don't just sit there with all your units sat in the base and just sort of, you know, hope and pray and send one forwards, leave the rest at the back. So yeah, bring recon helos. They're so useful. Especially for HDR, where you just don't have infantry with high HP for your recon. You do get the rifle patrol, which is pretty useful. At least that didn't drive into there and die. And this isn't using its satchel because it's actually out of range, so... And yeah, just keep practicing. I mean, it comes down to, like, is this a good use of my time learning this game? Shouldn't I do something else with my life? And, you know, that's perfectly reasonable, right? But if you're going to have loads of games... Like, we'll check how many games they have at the end, but if you're going to play it anyway, you might as well get better. It's kind of the idea. So this is getting back, so it's not going to die, so that's nice. And then he's putting it behind his infantry, because he knows it's kind of safe there. Obviously, you've got to be very careful with Tan LOS. Red should have a guy in here, so he can see stuff. He should get a stinger up, so that the helos can't be sent to kill him. But we just got loads of rocket helos here, just sat around not doing anything, when they, you know, they could be doing something here. And, you know, stuff like this has just been sat there all game, and you can just drive it up here, drive it around, just get some vision, right? Get some vision. It's not doing anything else, so... and it all adds up, but you know, it's easy to say these things, but essentially what happens is it's very hard to concentrate on all the units. And you enter a kind of like survival mode where you just end up reacting to threats as opposed to thinking straight, like, this is how I'm going to win the game, this is what I'm going to do. And really the only solution to that is to play lots of games like this. So the guys you see who are beating you, they're not just like, oh, you know, I ate more fish as a kid, so I'm smarter, you know? It's, they've played either this game a lot, or a lot of games like this, and so when the rubber meets the road, they don't panic, and so they're more capable of the decision making, and the more you play, the better you'll get at, basically, it'll go into your muscle memory. I mean, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but essentially, your subconscious mind is way, way, way better than your conscious mind. And so that's why you need to practice anything to become good at it, right? You don't become a good marathon runner by watching the marathon on the telly. You will learn a lot, right? So like watching this video solves one of your two problems. The two problems are, I don't know everything about the game, and watching this video helps with that. But the other one is putting it into practice, and if you only do the first and not the second, you're not good at the game. So, there's certain people who have been very rude to me recently, actually, but you get some people who are very opinionated about the game, and they're telling people how to play and how the game should be played. But then they're terrible at the game. And so they shouldn't be giving people that advice, because they don't actually know. They just think they do. Because I've spectated loads of games, doesn't make you good, right? Are you a fast runner because you watch Usain Bolt a load of times? Are you a World Cup football athlete because you know? But basically, we're just waiting for this game to end. Like, both of these players, their brains switched off a long time ago. They're just conga lining tanks down without any recon, without any AA. You know, Red's ability to win this game went out the window about 10 minutes ago, because even if you cap all the bases on the map, you're not going to get enough points. So, there you go. Ballistechnical rank 587. Commander's Moustache rank 249. So I've got nothing against this guy personally, right? But, so, like, this is like, I haven't played enough. This is, I don't know enough. Do you see what I mean? Because if you've got that many games, you know, and your win rate's that low, that means your knowledge is lacking, right? Generally. But if you've got way less games and your rank is low, it's like, well, that's probably because you just haven't played enough. Because I got the impression he sort of knew what to do. It was just on the execution. Whereas his opponent clearly did not understand what to do. And we saw that in his deck as well. Anyways, I'll see you around. GG.